The SACP has condemned the reported brutal mass shooting in Marikana informal settlement in Philippi in Cape Town. 8 people died and 2 others are fighting for their lives in hospital. The organization has described the incident as senseless violence and adding that the people behind it must be hunted down to face justice. For more on this, we're joined by Benson Ngqentsu, who's the SACP Provincial Secretary and Spokesperson for Police Oversight and Community Safety. Good to have you on the program, Benson, despite the circumstances. Please firstly give us a sense, as the SACP Provincial Secretary and Spokesperson for Police Oversight and Community Safety, how do you interpret the significance of this mass shooting in Marikana and Philippi, but also in the broader context of violent crime in Cape Town?
Good evening, Nhlanhla, as well as to your viewers. 2 or 3 things. The recent incident, or should I say, today's wave of mass shooting should be taken within a particular context. What is that context? Is the fact that mass shootings are quite prevalent in Black and Clouds townships of the Western Cape. Townships characterized by chronic crisis of underdevelopment, massive squatter camps in Cape Town. For instance, Cape Town alone is about more than 953 squatter camps. And majority of those squatter camps do not have access roads and many other things. And it makes it very difficult for the men in blue to do patrolling. And compounding the problem further is the crisis of poverty, unemployment, and also the prevalence of illegal economic activities. So it is important to underscore that particular point. And that the provincial government have failed, to address the issue of squatter camps in the Western Cape. So this matter is underreported by the media. If you go to where the incident took place, it is very difficult for the police to patrol, and one has to walk. Even walking is not safe. So understanding that is important. And given what has happened in the prevalence of violent crime, as the SACP, ANC, COSATU, and SANCO, and given my position as a spokesperson for police oversight, we have called on President Ramaphosa to declare violent crime in Cape Town a national disaster as a basis to ensure that there is central coordination and that the fight against crime is not confined or reduced to South African Police Service, and that all related departments are involved. It is evident that the president maybe will only respond when heinous crimes of this kind take place in Kempsey and other areas. If he does, following this incident, if he does not declare violent crime as a national disaster, that will imply that he, as a president, is complicit, including the minister, because we lobby the minister on this particular question. Because the police faces their own challenges: 1, of underfunding; 2, of deliberate destabilization of the police intelligence. The Western Cape is one of the provinces for the longest time with no provincial head of the intelligence. The Western Cape is one of the provinces with massive squatter camps. So, whilst this may not serve as a panadol, but importantly, it will help a great deal to mitigating the challenge of the challenge of violent crime in this province. Because where we stand, that incident is part of organized crime. And we make a call to the South African Police Service to leave no stone unturned till perpetrators are brought on. In the course of investigation, they must even profile the deceased. And this question might sound insensitive, but from the point of view of effective investigation, it's very important. And we call on the city of Cape Town to be consistent in terms of their contribution, even on the question of offering rewards where there are incidents of this kind, that it must be applied across our communities, not in certain communities for electoral purposes or ends.
Right. Let's unpack some of the aspects that you raise. You say that you suspect organized crime may be linked to this incident. And also the police have indicated that this attack may be linked to an extortion racket. So how deeply rooted is extortion, especially in township economies? And what role does it play in escalating violence to this level?
If you were to study, the modus operandi of violent crime and shootings in Cape Town, they are related to such. If it's not gang related, it is extortion related, because extortion in Cape Town in particular has become a particular economic enterprise. And it doesn't matter whether you're a hawker or small business. And shebeens, as they operate illegally and in squatter camps, they are vulnerable to this kind of activities. Even Tlantla, selling sweets, selling whatever, you are made to pay this extortion. But also, those forces, they also fight amongst themselves over their own tax. So that is why I am advising the police, or calling on the police, to investigate in that crime scene, even the cat that is seen passing by, in probing or profiling even the deceased. That will better inform the investigation. And I listened to the Provincial Commissioner when he was doing some commentary. His commentary was just that of those of commenting and calling all, but not inspiring confidence, taking us to his confidence to say, these are the measures in place he has put in place to address this question. That is a problem. And yes, I'm not surprised, because there is no proper coordination in the Western Cape in respect to fighting crime. Tlantla in 2024, former minister, or the suspended or whatever Minister Ngqentsu, signed what was termed cooperation agreement involving SAPS, provincial government, the city of Cape Town. Not a single layer of government can take us into confidence about how they have effectively run out that cooperation agreement, sharing of resources, and ensure that they're integrated programs. There is absolutely none. What we are saying is apportioning of blame, in particular, by the Premier of the Western Cape, Alan Wendy, as well as J.P. Smith. So, as long as the political elements in the province, the city of Cape Town, continue to politicize crime, we shall continue seeing events of this kind. But importantly, attempt to address what I describe as a source of the problem: chronic crisis of underdevelopment, and a situation that have made extortion as a new economic enterprise in the Western Cape, in Cape Town, and probably in the country.
Right.
And finally, the president needed to declare violent crime in hotspot areas, such as Cape Town, as national disaster, unless he is perhaps want to wait for this incident to take place in Camps Bay and other areas. And if he doesn't do that, he'll be accused of being complicit. But if he's the president of the people, elected by the people, he will therefore act in the best interest of our people, in particular, the poor and the workers of Cape Town.
Right.
Khayelitsha, Mitchells Plain, Philippi, Hanover Park, and Meningberg, and Kraaifontein in particular.
Mr. Ngqentsu, as we end our conversation, you've called for intensified police intelligence operations in the province. What specific intelligence failures or even gaps do you believe even allowed such a planned attack to happen?
You recall that in the country, in the course of seeking to destabilize the South African Police Service, the intelligence was a target at the national level as well as in the province. And the Western Cape, Eastern Cape, and KZN are one of the provinces without heads of the intelligence. Now, only crime prevention which are driven through the intelligence that can be effective. And if there was an operation and an operating and functioning intelligence, many of the criminal activities and operations will indeed be stopped. But unfortunately, there are no intelligence. The only intelligence we have are intelligence which is used for palace politics, politics of backstabbing, tarnishing the image of the political elite. And that intelligence needs to be now redirected to serve our people on the ground so that at least the people of the Western Cape and Cape Town, Working Class Township can live in peace and comfort.
Benson Ngqentsu, thank you so much for sharing your insights on this tragic and deeply troubling incident.